Hello, moviegoers! Welcome to the latest episode of CritiCarter, the show where I turn you into a cinephile. I just got back from the midnight screening of Our Idiot Brother, directed by Jesse Peretz and co-written by Evgeny Peretz and David Shiskel. This movie stars Paul Rudd, Zooey Deschanel, Elizabeth Banks, Emily Mortimer, Rashida Jones, Steve Coogan, Adam Scott, TJ Miller, and Hugh Dancy. When lovable oaf Ned finds himself in trouble from his latest bout of honesty, he must rely on the aid of his family to get a new start in life. However, they find that his unique brand of honesty disrupts their lives as well. The first act of this movie is really bland. The marketing for the film sets it up as your standard comedy from Paul Rudd, because that's really what we know him for so far. And that's not at all the impression that I was getting at that point. During the film's first act, there's a lot of seeds planted plot-wise, but nothing really happens. And I was a little worried about the film at that point. I was considering walking out, to be totally honest. But in the second and third act, it just boom, you know? I just can't think of a word to properly describe it. It's just boom, crazy. It's just boom, can't say that enough. Boom, you know? When the seeds planted in the first act started germinating, the plot just goes all over the place, and in the best ways possible. The film mainly focuses on Ned's relationship with his three sisters. One, Natalie, played by Zooey Deschanel, who's in turn in a relationship with Rashida Jones's character. Two, the up-and-coming journalist Miranda, played by Elizabeth Banks. And three, the housewife Liz, played by Emily Mortimer, who's married to Steve Coogan's character, a would-be documentarian. And just a quick note on Steve Coogan, he seems like he's in a completely different movie sometimes from everybody else. Like they just kind of plopped him down in the middle of everything and said, hey, be Steve Coogan. Maybe it's just because he's made such a career for himself playing a version of himself in films so far. And while I wasn't a huge fan of Coogan, I did really like the chemistry between Zooey Deschanel and Rashida Jones. I thought they made one of the most convincing on-screen couples that I've seen in I don't know how long. There's also some nice moments from Adam Scott, who a lot of people would probably recognize from Parks and Rec right now. While he doesn't appear in a ton of the movie, he is definitely more than just, you know, a plot device or a quick joke here and there. I don't want anybody watching this to go into this movie thinking that it's going to be a comedy, you know, along the lines of something like I Love You Man or other recent films from Paul Rudd. After Ned starts doing what Ned does, in the second and third acts, the movie turns into a big-time drama, and I really think that's where it excels, to be honest. The comedic beats here and there that are just dropped in and they feel really out of place. I wish that the writers and director had focused more on the conflict caused by what Ned does rather than just, oh ha ha ha, here's our brother, he's such a screw-up, woo hoo hoo. I think ultimately the movie shows Paul Rudd has quite a bit of talent if he just allows himself to exercise that. There's a really powerful moment around the beginning of the third act that just really hit me right here. I'm not gonna say I rolled a tear, but it's really surprising and it just totally, it blindsides you. That's what it does.
Admit it, you rolled a tear.
I did not roll a tear. It's not that kind of a movie. While the movie gets off to a slow start, ultimately I have to give it 3 big, unkempt Paul Rudds. It's definitely worth it as long as you can make it through that first third of the movie or so. Next week I'll be seeing The Debt, because, you know, who doesn't love movies about assassins? Especially when they got Helen Mirren in them. Like I said a couple blogs ago, I do have a written version of all this. It's, you know, the link's always going to be down here somewhere. Last week I saw what's probably my favorite movie of the year so far, Attack the Block, British sci-fi film, so make sure you read that review. This weekend, probably Sunday, I'm going to be putting up a review on an Irish film called The Guard, starring Brendan Gleeson and Don Cheadle, so check that out when it gets put up. I just want to thank you guys. I'm up to 519 subscribers at the point that we're shooting this video. It might not seem like some huge deal, but for me, it is. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for supporting me. You know, keep thumbs up, subscribe if you're coming across this for the first time, you know, tell your friends, pay it forward, all that good stuff. So I've already picked what movie I'm going to see next week. In the comments, I want you to tell me how you feel about comedic actors doing a serious turn. You know, like Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or Will Ferrell in Stranger Than Fiction, or Adam Sandler in Reign Over Me, stuff like that. Up here, you can click for my review of Fright Night from last week, and I'll have my review of The Debt over here after that goes up next week. 1 or 2 of you have done this already, so big props to you guys. I leave video responses open for automatic approval. It's one thing to tell me in the comments, but if you want to do a whole video, you know, giving me your feedback on these films, you know, you want to tell me I'm completely wrong, or that you agree with everything I've said, and, you know, want to bow down at the altar that is is CritiCarter. Go ahead. Fade to black.
It's a thing!
It's a thing.